guys. Omnichannel is often mistaken with multi-channel when really they're quite different. You have multiple channels to communicate with your customer, but omnichannel is a much more holistic approach. With multi-channel, you have all your channels, but they're siloed. They're not really working together. True omnichannel, I like to think of it like the Beatles. You have John, Paul, George, Ringo, and they're not working in silos. They're not writing songs separately, but they're working together to make something that's greater than their parts. So to take us through that next, we have a sponsor session by Upstream. Thank you to Lank also, who sponsored the last session. I don't think we thanked them. But this next session is sponsored by Upstream. So we have Chrysa Karamanidi, apologies, who's CMO of Upstream. And then we have Katerina Matthaiou, who is the head of product and growth at Upstream, all the way from Greece. Guys, please take it over.
Hello. In case you're wondering, our names are Greek, so is our accent. Thank you, Ross, for the introduction. We're really happy and honored to be part of this forum, and hopefully we can contribute significantly to the conversation about what is needed to thrive in an ever-changing omnichannel ecosystem. Let me start with a few words about my company, Upstream, so that you understand also why we're here talking about this. Upstream is a leader in mobile marketing technology, and through our mobile marketing platform Grow, we aim to help businesses interact better with their customers, engage better with their customers, attract new user base, and also increase, of course, their sales and revenues. We operate in high-growth markets in more than 45 countries in Southeast Asia, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. And we are currently working with the biggest names in telco and recently expanded in other verticals such as FMCGs, retail, and e-commerce. Our mission is clear. We want to help businesses redefine the conversation they're having with their customers through omnichannel user experiences, because we understand that today's consumers do not only need mere interactions, but they seek personalized user experiences. Now, I want to share a few data points so that you understand why the personalized and seamless experiences are so important. Advancing technology has not only offered a myriad of choices to the consumers, but it has also elevated their expectations to new heights. Also, the rise of digital platforms and social media has fueled a culture of instant gratification. So all consumers are currently seeking real-time responses, fast responses, and also solutions that cater to their needs almost instantaneously. This is why disconnected customer experiences are the #1 frustration reason when it comes to customer experiences. And this is why, and this was something very eye-opening for me as well, 71% of users, 80%, sorry, consider a brand's experience as important as its products. This is really powerful, and you understand also what a big opportunity for growth and improvement for the businesses this is. At the same time, 71% of consumers prefer different channels according to the context, be it more traditional channels such as phone calls, in-store visits, or more contemporary ones such as mobile apps, websites, voice assistants. They still prefer different channels according to the step of their journey that they are at and the context. And of course, 80% of the users expect consistent interactions across channels and products and flows. However, they don't get that. More than half said that they need to repeat information to different representatives and flows. And this is something very frustrating for the end customer, and it might end up, as you understand, to them abandoning a flow altogether. As Ross already said, when it comes to catering to the increasing customer needs, two terms have emerged as cornerstones: multi-channel and omnichannel. And although they are used interchangeably, they are actually distinct paradigms of how the business interacts with their customers. Traditionally, in multi-channel approaches, businesses have been engaging with their customers across many channels, but those and across many touch points actually, but those channels are not connected with each other. While in an omni-channel approach, the channels are working together in harmony. And it's not about the quantity of the channels. It could be just 2 channels or 3 channels. It's mostly about the quality of integration and how the data flow between the channel is working. To explain why omnichannel is very important and how it can create a very big problem when it comes to not being used in customer experience, I would like to give 2 examples. Let's say that there is a retail company, they have a loyalty program that is linked with their website, and the information is not synchronized with their physical stores. Then the customers do have real problems in redeeming the rewards or receiving a consistent customer experience. Another example, and a lot of businesses struggle with this, it has to do with how the customers transition from one channel to the other. So maybe I'm a customer, I have started the conversation inside the website in a live chat, and I want to move this conversation to a phone call. It happens that I have to repeat information. It happens that sometimes the representatives don't know who I am, and this is very frustrating for the user. And again, the customer might abandon the flow altogether. Now, this is why omni-channel strategies have a lot of benefits. So unified data are used from various sources, are collected from various sources. And because of this, the offerings that we can provide to the customers are personalized. The experiences are enhanced and seamless. And of course, the customer support is much more efficient. At the same time, this results in higher conversion rates, higher customer retention and satisfaction, and of course, in higher sales and revenues, which is the ultimate objective. But it's, of course, a slow and time-consuming process, despite of it being the dream. I mean, omnichannel is the dream. I have been a performance marketing manager for many years in my life, and only in my wildest dreams I would have imagined having the right toolkits and skill set in order to perform a truly omnichannel experience. Thank God, over the past years, this has changed. It's a very slow and time-consuming process because it's not about only integrating the various touch points. It actually requires rewiring of the organizational DNA, recalibration of strategies, technologies, mindsets. So everything needs to change. It's not a swift leap. We have to spend time on it, you have to spend resources on it, and I would say that there is 3 categories of challenges and gaps that need to be tackled. They are connected, they also have overlaps, but they can be categorized in 3 types. Transformational gaps, skill set and knowledge gaps, and anything related to infrastructure and technology, of course. Starting with the transformational challenges, this is a big one because it requires a complete shift of mindset, which especially in large organizations is very challenging to happen. So shifting from a channel-centric approach to a customer-centric approach means that you need to cater, be proactive for the customer's behaviors and preferences across many touch points. And this is not very easy. And at the same time, a different culture needs to be fostered inside the organization, a culture that focuses on constant innovation, continuous learning, flexibility. Resistance to change also needs to be battled. And of course, another big one has to do with the organizational silos. We have seen, especially in telco and bigger, large organizations, different departments using different platforms, using different channels, even using different CRM systems, having different objectives. This is very, very hard to battle. And of course, another big transformation that needs to happen is that everyone needs to accept, from especially top management, that more resources are required, be it human resources, financial resources. The company needs to invest in technologies, attracting new talent, training the existing employees in order to be able to cultivate these capabilities needed for running a truly omnichannel campaign. I'll move on to the second category of gaps, which is the skill and knowledge gaps. Anything related to lack of expertise of the teams and marketeers in particular. It might be that marketeers are not well equipped in order to analyze data across channel and across many touch points. Or it might be that they don't have the technological acumen to navigate complex systems, complex platforms, or even what we discussed before, not have the collaborative skills in order to be able to break down these organizational silos that are a big barrier. Of course, everything related to customer understanding. This is a hard one. We all think that we understand the customer, but it really needs training, mindset changing. It's not that easy to bring the customer first and understand that you need to treat them as one, meaning one unified customer profile that you need to have and address your customer under that. And of course, the last one, everything related to reporting. We all struggle with this part, all people in performance marketing, not having consistent customer data, not having sophisticated analytical tools that can help you make decisions is always a very big barrier. This is also a technological gap, not just a skill set gap. And it takes me to the last category, which is a very big one. I think it needs the biggest investment, financial investment, when it comes to transitioning from a multi-channel to an omni-channel ecosystem. As already discussed, a lot of different tools inside the companies used by different departments. They create that are not integrated, and the customer data flow is not consistent. Absence of robust engagement platforms that actually hinder the ability of marketeers to be able to build and run personalized and contextual campaigns. Not my expertise, but this is a very big one as well. Everything related to security and privacy and compliance across different channels. Maybe different data encryption might be needed across different channels. And of course, scalability and flexibility issues. Legacy systems do have a lot of problems when it comes to flexibility. For example, it might be very hard to integrate a new channel to your platform. So companies need to invest in integrated platforms and for sure also data management systems and agile technologies in order to be able to tackle all these problems. Now that's it on me. I will leave it to Katerina to give you some real life examples, the more interesting part.
Thank you very much. Hello from my side. So Chrysa has talked a lot about what omnichannel really means and all the different factors that are practically blocking companies from adopting it. So on my side, I want to pass to some more specific examples. Upstream as a company has a long history in combining performance strategy with technology. And this dual DNA, let's call it, has given us the opportunity to cooperate with various customers, mobile network operators and brands, and have a first-hand view of how they communicate with their customers and all the different challenges that they're facing. So we have various examples from different projects that we have worked on from different industries in different countries. And in fact, we have seen that there are many similarities when it comes to countries. So we see similarities whether we are talking with customers from Brazil, from South Africa, from Greece, from all these different countries in which we have actual examples. For today, I have selected two different cases from two different industries, both from Brazil. So The first case is from the MNO world, the mobile operator world. We have been cooperating with a major operator in Brazil, helping them move users to the next spending tier by upgrading them from prepaid to contracts. Everything happens through an online flow, as the requirement of the specific project was to create an alternative digital touchpoint to complete this process. We are responsible for the management of the flow, but also for all the communication strategies sending traffic to it. The operator on their side are sending offline segmentation data about the users, including information about the plans to which each user is eligible to migrate. To orchestrate the different campaigns, we have used Grow, our marketing platform, which has also enabled profiling, segmentation, automations, and reporting. We have used a lot of different channels for our campaigns. The requirement overall has been to use technology, to use different channels, to use data in order to maximize performance, while at the same time keeping a very consistent and seamless experience across the different channels. There is a long list of channels that we have used, like, for example, SMS, MMS, RCS, WhatsApp, email, SAT push, web ads, and also rewarded ads on the MNOs captive portal. What we have seen is that the more channels added in the mix overall, the higher the performance. However, having a closer look, what we have seen is that more conversational channels like RCS or WhatsApp perform much better. And in fact, we see that they have a 37% higher conversion rate compared to more traditional channels like SMS or email, for example. What we have also validated is that whenever we have campaigns with more targeted and more personalized content and more personalized targeting, then the performance is much better. It is, in fact, 24% higher compared to campaigns with more generic content or more untargeted segmentation. A big star of our strategy has been automated retargeting, addressing users who have dropped out of the funnel by sending them messages to re-engage them. The automated retargeting is triggered based on specific events by the flow itself. And it follows a different strategy depending on various factors, like how many times each user has interacted with the flow before dropping from it. Due to this contextual nature and the fact that we are able to reach users very close to their interaction with the flow, in fact, automated retargeting has helped us improve our results by 45%. So summarizing the results, what we have seen is that whenever we have gone closer to the principles of an omnichannel strategy, meaning putting the user at the center of the communications, then the improvements that we see in the performance are remarkable. Of course, there are additional things that we want to do. Unfortunately, not everything is perfect. So within the operator, across the different departments, we have seen that neither the communication strategy nor the technology, meaning the marketing platforms, are centralized. This is happening even for cases that the different departments of the operator are talking with the same customers for relevant products. Fortunately, decision makers within the operator are understanding the need to change things and improve things, and we are in constant discussions with them to bring changes. What we want to do, first of all, is to integrate with the operator's CDP and other operator systems in order to be able to retrieving real-time information about the users, but also to be sending back to the different systems information about the users and how they interact with the platforms. This will help us have better targeting, but also have more event trigger communications, which are much more contextual and also have a much better performance. And it will also ensure that all the different departments, all the different touch points will have a consistent messaging and provide a more seamless experience to the end users. We are also discussing bringing under the same roof, under our platform, all communications, all relevant communications, and make sure that we have not only consistent messaging, but at the same time that we are also able to control the number of communications sent per user to avoid user spamming, which is also a frequent problem of having everything decentralized. Of course, as you understand, all these improvements will also improve our visibility, will also help us have better reporting, and at the end of the day, make better decisions and also understand our customers better. The second example that I'm going to present to you today is from one of our e-commerce customers in Brazil, a fashion retailer. Our customer approached us with three main requirements. They wanted to expand their user base with new customers. They wanted to re-engage existing customers, and at the same time, they wanted to improve sales by improving cart abandonment rates. So in order to achieve all these different goals, we follow different approaches depending on the case. First of all, we run a series of on-site campaigns in order to expand, enhance the user base with new customers and more data per user. We ran a lot of tests. We did a lot of optimization, and a big part of our success, which is practically achieving 135% increase of the customer user base within a few months. A big part of this success was the fact that we tested different content, different visuals, and we also experimented a lot with incentives and gamification techniques. We also used a combination of on-site pop-ups and messaging channels like RCS, MMS, and WhatsApp in order to run personalized win-back campaigns that help us improve our repeat sales by 8%. These campaigns were addressed to repeat users, existing users. For the specific case, a big part of the success had to do with the personalization of the messaging, the personalization of the experience and the look and feel, and also of the promoted offering. We relied a lot on data, behavioral data, and data from our customer CRM, taking into consideration parameters like customer preferences, browsing history, and purchase behavior. Finally, using messaging channels, we also ran a series of cart recovery campaigns in order to improve cart abandonment rates, achieving an increase of 70% and seeing a big improvement in the overall sales. Overall, we had a 16 times return of investment in 1 month and a half. So the biggest challenge in this case is to connect the different data points so as to get more access to information about our customers. I want to do a small parenthesis here. What we see overall is that evolution and change in the case of medium-sized companies like an ESOP, for example, is easier when compared to large corporations like a mobile network operator. And this has to do with many factors like the processes, the power games, the complexity, the structure of large corporations. Whenever things move easier within our customer's structure, then it's also easier for us, as you understand, as their partners, to be close to them, understanding their needs, have trust, and change things. This doesn't mean, however, that things are also easy when it comes to the case of the retailer, for example. Especially when it comes to the integration of data and the unification of data, there are various factors that are making the whole process very complex, like the fact that they use different platforms to manage all the different communication channels, or the fact that they manage some things in-house, some through agencies, some through partners of theirs, not having, as you understand, a single owner for everything. Or the fact that they have custom implementations in their websites, which is also affecting the data structure. So all these different factors are making the process of unifying the data and using the data of all the different touch points a very complex process. Once we manage to complete this process, of course, we will be able to bring various improvements. We will be able to have better targeting and segmentation, more sophisticated segmentation, and also provide unified branding and messaging. Having access to more information about the users, we will also be able to have more personalized experiences and more targeted offerings. Of course, we will have better analytics, better and more accurate journey mapping. And of course, you understand that through all these improvements, also our customer will be able to provide a more seamless and a better customer support. So, summarizing what we have learned, I have gathered the 10 main principles that companies need to keep in mind and work on if they want to achieve an omnichannel outlook. First of all, they need to change the way that they communicate with their customers. They need to enable consistent user experience messaging, branding across all the different touch points, whether these are the physical stores, the e-shop, the mobile application, or any other means of communicating with the customers. They also need to understand how important mobile has become and that they need to pay special attention to it. Mobile needs to, all their communications, all their touch points, the digital touch points need to be user-friendly, need to be responsive to mobile devices. The same applies for social media. The specific channel category has become the basic means of engagement, of branding, of customer support, so it cannot be omitted from the channel mix. They also need to understand how important testing, optimization, and experimentation has become. In a rapidly evolving environment in which users are becoming more and more connected, users are interacting, end users are interacting with different touch points all the time, then everything needs to be questioned, everything needs to be reinvented, everything needs to be tested. Of course, all these changes cannot happen without some more fundamental organizational shifts and infrastructure changes. Chrysa has elaborated a lot about these. You cannot just talk to your customers in a consistent way just like that. It requires investment in technology to enable all the omnichannel operations. It requires the setup of analytic tools and processes to collect, store, unify, and use all the different data. With the availability of so many data, often personal data, you understand that compliance to data security and customer privacy are becoming a priority, need to become a priority for companies, and they also need to be communicated to the end customers to build trust. And of course, companies need to ensure that they regularly train their employees in order for them to understand what omnichannel is, what is its value, and how they can support it. Last but not least, companies need the right marketing platform in order to enable a multi-channel strategy. Talking from the side of a provider of such a platform and having used Grow for a series of campaigns, I can assure you that magic cannot happen without the right tool. Companies need to have the right marketing platform in order to orchestrate their communications, in order to integrate with the external systems, in order to collect and store and use data about the users, both for segmentation and decision making. They need to have reporting, and they also need the platform that is going to help them easily add automations and intelligence to optimize their campaigns. So this has been from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. Is this working? Yeah. Yep, perfect. Any questions in the audience? Oh, we got Catherine for BT. Yeah. Pass that over there.
Yeah. Catherine McGuire from BT. Sorry, I missed the very start, so if you covered this, my apologies. But what's the breakdown in terms of channel, and is there one you go to first when you're taking the omni-channel approach with brands, or is it dependent on the audience, or is there a blanket strategy for that in terms of which channels you go to first and which you fall back to?
Well, this, I would say, depends on the case. So as Chrysa mentioned at some point, that indeed when it comes to omnichannel, it's not so much about the actual channels rather than how these are connected. Yeah. So there are various factors and various tests that we do to define which channel is the best. Yeah. We may start with the ones that have the greater penetration, while at the same time having some more engaging channels, some new channels, fresh channels like RCS, for example. But this will depend on the case. What is important for an omnichannel strategy is that all these channels are interconnected, so you don't have silos. You may just use 2 channels, but you need to make sure that the experience across these channels is seamless. So you cannot be saying one thing and a contradictory thing to another channel, or you cannot be asking the users the same things through the different communications. And of course, this also applies to the physical stores, which is also a frequent issue when it comes to unification. I don't know, Chrysa, if you want to add anything.
When it comes also to the collection of the channels in your strategy, of course, with experience, you know which channels work better with under which context. So, for example, for marketing messages, you might be using more text channels like WhatsApp, RCS, while for transactional messages, we might be using SMS more. So, when it comes to the collection of the channels, testing is important, and of course experience according also to the context that you want to use. But I agree with Katerina on what she said. It's about the quality of the integration of the channels, not the quantity of the channels. This is the most important thing, and this is what we mostly struggle right now. Businesses mostly struggle right now.
Perfect. Any other questions, guys? Oh, yep. We got. Say your name.
Hi there. Name's Michael Power. I work for MEF in education at the moment. So a great presentation, by the way. Thank you for that. I was really interested by the return on investment. You said you had like a 16x in 1.5 months. I mean, that is that kind of common? Are you seeing that as quite a regular stat these days?
Okay. I will take. This was actually the return of investment of the customer that we ran the campaign on behalf of. It's quite common in e-commerce. So we see this was one of the biggest ones we have seen. And of course, it has some attrition over time. It doesn't stay like this, but it's very impressive, the 16 times, I agree. We've seen it. We've seen it with a lot of customers. Like it's common in e-commerce. Yes.
And just leading back to the question a moment ago, I was really interested in the channel choice. Like, do you find that once a consumer is in one channel, they sort of stick with it, or are you kind of hitting them on different channels? How do you deal with that?
No, we don't think that they stick with it. So we don't really think that if a consumer, for example, is responsive to SMS, he's gonna stick with SMS. Depending on the context, we might use different channels. And this is also part of the testing that we do. It could be RCS, WhatsApp, SMS, email. So we don't consider that a consumer sticks with one channel. We want to give options to the customer. And sometimes we stick with channels according to the category, as I said before. So for transactional messages, we might use more SMS, but for marketing messages, more rich content channels.
Great, thank you very much.
And then I think we've one in the back. Yourself, say your name and your company.
Thanks for the talk. It's Luke Jenkins from Cinch. In both of the case studies that you talked about, you mentioned the need for being really ultra personalized with the communications that you send out. How does that translate to the messages that you send out in terms of the content? Because, you know, first name is a really common one, right? But based on the intelligence that you've gleaned, how does that translate regardless of channel?
Actually, it translates into many different things. And this has to do also with the available information that we have, because you understand that the more information we have available, the more the personalization level that we can apply. So it can be related to the actual phrasing, or adding elements to the actual message, personalized elements, calling the user by his name, just an example. It can be related with the offering per user. It can be relating to a context that we know, like, for example, how many times the user has interacted, and this will end up with sending a message under a different context that matches with the fact that we have already talked with this customer already 10 times. And when, of course, we pass also to more visual elements and we have information about shopping behavior, it may relate to the fact that we know that this user is frequently used in shopping bags, for example. So the range is very broad. It depends on the case, and it also depends on what we know about the user.
Thank you.
Perfect. I think that's all we have time for, guys. Thank you, Upstream, again, for sponsoring this session. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Round of applause.